Hello and welcome to a Life in Digital Can Captures special. I'm here with Luke Fenney, SVP International Publisher Partnerships at Liveramp. Luke, thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for having me and for joining the aircon.
I know, dude, it's so nice to come into a suite and the outside, your view is incredible.
It's a nice spot on the quasi.
Yeah. Actually, out of interest, when you have these sorts of facilities, how much do you try and spend time here versus going out and having a look around?
Oh, you're trying to catch me here.
Yeah.
It is a hard balance. We have a nice spot here. We bring probably over the course of the week, probably a few hundred meetings in the space here. We've got about 7 or 8 meeting spaces. But it is nice to get out on the quasi. You bump into everyone and anyone from the industry. So it's about finding that balance. And I think come about 5:30, we'll be definitely out. We'll be venturing out. I've been up and down a couple of times today. So yeah.
Absolutely. How many cans have you done, Luke?
I've been asked that question a few times this week. I think my first can would have been around 2014, 2015. Okay. So obviously with COVID in there as well, it must be about 8.
And what's your take on how it is now versus how it was?
Yeah, I mean, when I first came, it felt big at the time, but I think it's very much old.
Has it really ramped?
It's massive. I think it gets a lot more attention or a lot more attendance from a lot of the North American people from the industry. It's big. I look back to the first cans, and I don't think the beach was as dominated by all of the big platforms as what it is today. It very much used to revolve around. It used to be almost a fringe festival.
Yeah.
Because you've got the core festival, it used to be almost like the ad tech, and that part used to be a little bit of a fringe festival around the port. And now it's everywhere. You look up and there's an apartment that's got branding on it. It's everywhere in Cannes these days. I always find it funny when you see a tourist walking around.
They must think
like, what is going on?
Yeah, or I wonder if students have, so has anyone figured out how to game Cannes?
I know of people in our industry that bring their older teenage kids.
Do they really?
And they get all the wristbands, they go to all the parties.
That is so cool, man. I hope my daughters get to do that when they're old enough. Okay, now I need to get my head in again. So for Liveramp, what are the big themes this year when you're thinking about what you want to speak to and what you're hearing about? What are the big themes?
Yeah, I think for us, it's really around this core concept of data collaboration. So I first and foremost speak with all of our publishers and ad tech partners around our international markets, so everything outside of America. We've spent the last few years bringing those publishers into our ecosystem so that they can start to capture a lot of the ad spend that has been transacted through Liveramp's platform. And I think it's now going beyond that for more advanced data collaboration use cases, for either pre-planning insights for media, for activation use cases, or for post-campaign measurement. And I think we're having a lot of great conversations around that. And I think the clean room technology that we've got in market, the ability for brands to look at measurement across publishers with our cross-media intelligence products, really provides unique capabilities that we haven't seen in the market before. And so a lot of it is around those pieces and the publishers really understanding like who they can collaborate with, who are the brands that are really leaning in, can they be collaborating with each other. We've spoken with publishers who are looking to strike partnerships with other non-competitive publishers.
That's really interesting.
And so it's really any partners that have data assets. The reality is no single company has all the data. And so there's this really strong need to collaborate with data, and you need a platform that provides all the safety and guardrails to
have a more addressable market.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's cool about publishers collaborating. And I know it's been, publisher businesses have evolved a lot and they continue to move with pace. When you're speaking to publishers, what do they see as their biggest concerns and opportunities?
Yeah, so I think Cannes over the last few years was very much, the publisher conversation was very much dominated by cookie deprecation, signal loss, and obviously Google's changed track on that. And so I don't think it's come up once today.
It's so weird, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's unsaid. It's really bizarre.
It's done. Yeah, I mean the reality though is publishers realize they still need to solve for signal loss. Even though that decision has been made by Google, there is still significant portion of the internet that is cookieless, that requires signals that allow brands to activate at scale and measure at scale. And so it's kind of an underlying theme without necessarily referencing kind of Google and Chrome specifically. No one is actively saying, how can I buy more Google Chrome inventory? It's just not what they're looking for. So I think with publishers, publishers are really starting to think about the data that they've got. They're starting to think about a lot more around authentication strategies. How can they get more of their users to be logging in or providing their email address? How can they know more about their audience? And how can they be using that data to better collaborate with all of the brands that are also bringing their data to the table? And so I think it's really good kind of level of conversation this year around some of those more advanced use cases, and there's no shortage of them when it comes to data collaboration.
Yes, and in terms of the channels where you're seeing brands most interested to invest, where are you seeing the dollars going?
Yeah, I think we are channel agnostic.
Yes.
Our technology works across all kind of environments, all devices, all channels. So I think for brands that heavily invest in programmatic channels, whether that's display and video in those environments, it's very much all addressable there. But increasingly connected TV becoming a bigger part. And so extending some of our partnerships with the likes of Netflix into the international markets will create a lot of new capabilities there. I think new channels such as AI search is also very interesting. I think.
How would you define AI search?
So companies like Perplexity are really kind of redefining the way consumers search and surface information. And so we announced recently our partnership with Perplexity. We're the only platform that supports the concept of custom audiences within the Perplexity platform. As they scale over the coming years, they'll be increasingly taking their advertising model to market, and brands will be able to, using Liveramp, will be able to push their first party data for targeting and activation purposes. That platform.
Yeah,
so
that's very cool.
Perplexity is one of many that are in the industry that are starting to kind of disrupt the traditional search model.
But search is primed for disruption as well because of also how people are using agentic AI, like how we search is going to be.
Yeah, and
I guess it feels like
it is, and I think the way people interact with traditional search versus AI search is very different. I think there's a stat that you typically put in a couple of keywords into a search engine, whereas with AI chat, you're typically putting in 6, 8, 10 words and providing a lot more kind of context around what you're looking for, and it provides a different kind of advertising experience that can be generated there instead of it being very much keyword based, which is what search is today. Really creating an advertising experience that's more aligned with sentiment and other areas as well. So I think the consumer shift is pretty obvious, and I think it's trying to figure out the ad model for that. But I think Perplexity and others really see brand first party data being at the forefront of that as well.
And data collaboration is whatever part of advertising you're in. Data collaboration is going to play a really big role. You mentioned CTV. It's remiss not to ask about retail media. I guess that's by theme the two which have been most prominent from our conversations this week. I guess you're seeing and feeling that too.
Yeah, I mean we've been involved in empowering a lot of the retail media for many years.
For a long time, yes.
So it's not new for us, but
the term is
the term is. I think what we're seeing it is an evolution towards more broader commerce media. So retail media being a subset of the broader commerce media, and so whether that's kind of companies like PayPal or Uber that are starting to create their own kind of commerce networks as well. It's not necessarily the same kind of capabilities, but not limited to the retail space. I think that's the broader direction that we're seeing things go in.
And that creates so many opportunities because I guess what happens is retailers figure out how to create a retail media channel, and you look at aligned businesses, and that's where you get other industries who can create.
Absolutely,
which is really exciting.
Yeah, and I think in the retail media space, you've obviously got all the retailers with a wealth of data. They've got all the CPGs that don't necessarily have data. There's a really natural fit there. But I think if you look at, take Uber, for instance, being able to leverage their data offering for hotels, travel, QSR brands. There's a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah, and I know you're going to be very focused on Liveramp's agenda, but will you get any time to go and hear, go to panels and?
You know what? I had many in the calendar that I read. The calendar actually fills up, so I actually don't think I'll interact too much with panels this year. But I'm hearing things secondhand.
As you do, yeah. And in terms of, I know you mentioned it's your 10th Can. If you were giving advice to people who are coming to Can, what would you say? What would you say to someone who's having a first?
I want you to put this in.
Okay.
At lunch today, I was at the IAB UK lunch. Okay. And I'm not going to attribute this comment to this person, but I think this is we have proven this. But he said he's going to put his underwear in the freezer for 25 minutes while he has a shower.
Yeah.
Before he goes out tonight. And he's going to feel
that is an amazing idea. So, also, what a baller! He's got a freezer.
I know. I think that's. I'm very curious to hear how that strategy goes. I think ultimate number one strategy for anyone coming to Can is wear comfortable shoes.
Yeah, man.
Like it is. Do whatever else you want to do, but just wear comfortable shoes.
Yeah, it's so hardcore.
It is.
Yeah, it's easier for it's easier for guys, but I always look at sandals and think that looks pretty brutal. There's trainers all the way.
Yeah. No one's going to judge you. Whatever's comfortable.
Yeah, so true. And the pants thing's definitely going in. And then in terms of what you think, if you do you expect to come away hearing anything that you didn't anticipate this week? So we knew or more of what we already know.
I think I find it really interesting to see how publishers are thinking of longer term. I think the AI search stuff is impacting a lot of the traffic they're seeing. I think
in a bad way.
In a negative way, publishers are already reporting seeing 10 to 30% less referral traffic from Google.
Wow,
AI search in place, and so that has material impact on the number of users and impressions they have to monetize. And so I think that's forcing them to start to think more strategically around the audience that they do have. How do they create more audience? How do they build up a lot more knowledge about that audience? And so I think it's interesting starting to hear like how publishers are thinking about that. It's I think for a long time it was on their to-do list, but this is really
here.
They're really need to be doing it. So I think there's lots of interesting ideas that publishers are talking about, collaboration with other publishers as well. I think there's lots of interesting things there.
Thanks, Luke. Real privilege.
No worries. Enjoy the rest of your time.